What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Just Arrival podcast. I'm Aaron, the head Texans fan. That's my boy DJ AB Cool, the Colts fan. We're back like every week that we usually are. We're going to come back to you talking Texans, Colts. No matter what you want us to talk about, we're going to talk about it. But right now, we're talking about what we talk about every week, the Just Arrival podcast. What we bring, what we show, what we're going to do for y'all. And, going from last week's games, you know what? Instead, I'm going to bring up any news that's come up with the Colts. Has anything come up with the Colts before we get into the games from last week?
Well, recent news came in out of the Colts in Indianapolis that Josh Downs went down with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I seen that.
Very, very unfortunate for him, man. He's a really young receiver. I mean, he's going into his third year, I believe, same like Anthony Richardson. And to see him go down, I mean, that's a key weapon. I mean, to be frank, I mean, he's made plays across the field, made plays last year, and Josh Downs is a guy you'd hate to lose on that side. But there is news in the fact that we don't know how severe it is. So again, it could be 1 to 3.5 weeks, which is normally the base for hamstring injuries. That's normally how long they last. 50% of players in the NFL normally have 1 to 3.5 weeks. Then only 10% will have more than that, right? So if it's really severe, then it could be months. Prayers that everything's going to be okay for Downs. He's a key player, and I feel like it would suck for the Colts to lose him this early in the season, and hopefully it's not that severe. Praying that it's not that severe.
Yeah, especially when if y'all don't feel too comfortable with your wide receiver room just yet, it hurts when one wide receiver, especially one of the starters, goes down. So it's at that point you're kind of in your head if the Colts will do something to get a replacement, or you're just hoping that the injury isn't as severe as they're showing it is.
Yeah, and I mean, he's an explosive player. He makes plays across the field, in the slot, down the field as well. So again, I think it would definitely suck for the injury to be just in general. I mean, even just the hamstring injury in general for Josh Downs, but hopefully things get better there for Josh Downs. And of course, there's no news out yet. I was looking all over through the internal media. Nothing about how severe it is, so they're still doing examinations. So we will wait for that. But that's kind of like the most recent news. I don't know if the Texans have any news on C.J. Gardner-Johnson or anything.
Oh yeah, we got a couple of news. One big one too as well. With C.J. Gardner-Johnson's injury, it's crazy how this one I forgot what it was 2 weeks ago or last week. The random night happened of us waiting to get the update on his injury. One of our main Houston beat reporters for the Texans, Aaron Wilson, he reported that C.J. Gardner-Johnson tore his ACLs out for the season. Then wouldn't you know it, 15 minutes later, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, everybody started reporting after him saying, so it's not an ACL injury. He should be ready by week 1. And we're just like, what is this? Who told who about the news of his injury? And just this week, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I believe he does Twitch. He went on there saying how D'Amico Ryans, how Nick Caserio, how they kind of kept his injury under wraps, so that nobody can really know how severe it is. So they kept it on wraps for him to get healthier, him to be ready for week 1. And he's been like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for, all these games coming up. Of course, I don't think he'll play preseason, but it's fine. I'm pretty sure week 1 he'll be just purely ready. But because of the injury that we thought he would have, that we thought it was, we went out and signed. I believe they played together. We went out and signed a previous Eagle. He played for the Patriots just last year, which is safety Jalen Mills. I'm pretty sure them two played together, but Jalen Mills, I've always heard so much from him, how he's just a pure emotional guy, ready to fight on the field. He's a good safety for us to especially have as a second string safety. So that's definitely something that Texan fans, we definitely enjoyed. Seeing that we went out and signed somebody in case C.J. Gardner-Johnson's injury was worse than expected. And one more big thing was our tight end Brevin Jordan. Last year he was out for the entire season, and we loved Brevin Jordan last year he was out the entire season for an ACL injury, and he if he's playing for us, to me, I see him as a starter because for me, he's better than Dalton Schultz with speed, with catching, with blocking. And just this past preseason game, he looked nice and everything. But just this week, him come from the ACL injury, we're happy for him. Just this week during a bit of training camp before the Panthers came over for training camp, he went down due to a knee injury, and he's out for the season. So it's a tough one for Brevin Jordan. So we just gave him a contract this offseason. So, I'm glad he's got his money, but it's one of those where it's like he's one of the guys where I hate that he went down because he's such one of those character guys that you love on the team. So, yeah, that's the main news going on right now with us when it comes to injuries, health, and what's coming up with these with who's who with positions, health, and everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you got to feel for that. I mean, to lose a tight end, again, we talk about losing important pieces on your team. And for the year, I mean, that, like you were saying, for the year, that's just horrible, right? When I mentioned about Justin Wally, the corner, who is out for the season, right? That came out for Indianapolis as well. Such a young corner, such a bright future. And to lose him for the year, right? His rookie year, what was supposed to be his rookie year, now is going to be moved to next year. And, just prayers up for those players. And, this NFL sport, it isn't easy, right? We talk about it on the podcast, but yeah, definitely rough for those players there. But Dalton Schultz, I mean, like you were saying, he's still a solid tight end. And of course, that other tight end is just, Jordan is just so much better, athletically. But of course, I mean, still the Texans weapons that you guys have, you guys still have Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell's out, but you trying to, get some other receivers involved in Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins, John Mechie. So again, I think it should be just fine for the Houston Texans. Of course, Nico Collins is always going to be Nico Collins. He's always, going downfield, making plays. I think as long as Nico Collins and CJ Stroud are there, I just feel like that offense will flourish. It just all depends on the offensive line, of course, and that pass protection.
Yeah, and with everything, even though we lost Brevin Jordan, we still have our rookie from last year, Cade Stover. To me, he's a great blocker. Speaking of Cade Stover, they had their training camp, with the Panthers just 2 days ago, and there's a video circulating around where they, their information, CJ hikes the ball, Cade Stover pancaked defensive tackle Derek Brown, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. Cade Stover's got that farm boy strength. But yeah, with going on from last week, with each of our games, especially with the Colts and against the Ravens, Texans against the Vikings. Of course, both of our teams lost, but I know we don't take it seriously because it's preseason. But when it comes to our games, we'll go with the Colts versus y'all. It started first last Thursday. What were like the main? Like, I have my own positive and negatives because I watched our game, but I wanted to know what your positive and negatives were as a Colts fan watching that game.
Well, when it came to the Ravens versus Colts preseason game, I really think, and of course, we have to address the elephant in the room. Anthony Richardson with the sack, right? The whole media talked about it. I mean, it's been all over Twitter. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, like you saw Anthony Richardson – TB injury, and you're like, oh, damn, this is crazy. Again, everybody's like, again, probably, but thank gosh it wasn't an again moment, right? This was a moment of like Richardson didn't get hurt, right? It was just a little pinky injury where they just popped it back into place. Kind of like, I think I heard a story about a basketball player that happened to him too. I just forgot which one, but it's just crazy to think, AR could have went back in, but of course the coaches didn't let him, which is glad, right? It's preseason. It doesn't matter as a whole.
Yeah, why risk it? Yeah.
No point to risk it. Anthony Richardson, though, before the injury or before that, pinky pop out, was 2 for 3 for 21 yards. Again, he looked pretty solid. Some things I did notice, obviously it's hard to notice based off one drive. We'll probably notice more in this Green Bay game coming up in a little bit here, but Anthony Richardson was a lot more composed. I will say that. He was a lot more steady in the pocket, knowing where to go with the football. Of course, the last pass that was incomplete could have been an interception. I think he threw it just a little late to Doolin there. It was like on more of like a post route. kind of like a curled post route towards like, kind of like play action. But, Doolin was down the field and the corner was able to come right underneath. So that just means Richardson was just a tad bit late. Had he have thrown it earlier where Doolin was more open and would have had more leverage, I think Doolin would have caught it for a big gain. But Richardson just has to get the timing just a little bit better there. But other than that, though, he looked pretty solid off that one drive. Daniel Jones came in below 50% completion. He looked okay. The offensive line, though, only allowed 2 sacks all game. So, in terms of pass protection, they weren't too bad. I know people want to blame the O-line for that Anthony Richardson situation, but I think that was more AR than the O-line. I think that was just part of the script. And, it's mistakes, but mistakes are good in the preseason, of course.
Yeah. And from my point of view, watching the Colts game, because I was really in depth once I saw AR, and to me, like you said, AR was composed. He was like the way he just stood in the pocket. I was like, okay, he's not just trying to run out as he usually does. He's usually run out, try to get some kind of too eager to get some playoff when it's like, no, take your time. But the one thing I will call out is I will call out the O-line, because to me, I there were plays a lot of times where I saw the O-line just get pushed back way too much. And, even though it was 2 sacks, I still felt AR and Daniel Jones just got pressured way too much to where I was like, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's the Ravens defense, good, even especially the second string. But the way they were getting pushed back, I was thinking it was my Texans O-line from last year. I was like, it just looked like, oh, man, no. And when that hit happened on AR, I'm not going to lie, as a Texans fan, I felt terrible for AR, because that was just a wide open, him not even seeing his field of vision of that hit. And to me, I don't know. It's a 3-way tie of who I blame it on. I blame it on the scheme of Steichen. I blame it on the offensive line. I'll blame it on a bit of AR. It's just, I get it. It's preseason, but you don't want that hit to happen. So they need to be more in control of communicating of who's where, because that's what the center's for. That's what the right tackles are for, left tackle. They're there to call out if they see any blitz formation, zero blitz, man blitz, anything, because they know what that edge rusher is going to do, which is hit your quarterback. So I feel it's a kind of a 3-way tie, them having to communicate. I'm sure in that film room this week, they were chewing each other out on that. So, yeah, stuff like that they cannot let happen again. But, yeah, even it feels to where I even got, mad seeing that, especially for y'all Colts fans, because I was like, what are they doing? They just – because I thought AR was dead. I was like, what the hell just happened? So, I felt so bad. So I was like, everybody's got to get on each other for that certain play. This whole game can go how it goes, but that play is the one they got to chew each other out for. But when I watched the Colts defense, I'm not gonna lie, our secondary, it looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it looked like they were holding their own. But the main thing was the rushing defense. The rushing defense was honestly letting a lot of outside zone rushes happen, a lot of just inside zones happen, and it just felt like the Colts' defensive tackles, their line, were just not really getting after it. They just felt like they were stuck in that one position for the running back to get around. And then when the Ravens started running, they just kept running. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, they got to do something for that run defense.
No, most definitely. And, in that regard, going back to that, the interior and linebacker depth, I think is, a little worrisome, specifically more the interior. I think the Colts have never really had good interior depth at all, probably in years. Because DeForest Buckner and Grover, I feel like those are the 2 main parts. If they're both not there, it almost feels like the Colts just can't stop the run when it comes to the first level. It feels like the running backs are always getting to the second level. So that just puts a lot more pressure on the linebackers and third level to tackle, which is good and bad, because you don't want that every time. And, Keaton Mitchell, who was, I believe, their 3rd string running back, went 7.6 yards per carry, 9 for 68, early on in that game. And that was just really bad. But of course, linebackers, right? Starting linebackers weren't really there. The starting interior wasn't there, right? So there was, I think the only starters that were playing were Kwity Paye. I believe Lauduladu wasn't there, but I might be wrong on that. But Kwity Paye, I know for sure was. And he did a pretty good job when it came to his rushes and, helping with stopping the run as well. But like what you were saying, right? The run defense was poor until, the second half of the game, where I feel like we started to see it slow down for the Ravens. They were starting to slow down the Ravens, allowing Dearness Johnson 18 for 57 on 3.2, right? That's their fifth stringer, but you're supposed to stop that guy, right? Like you're supposed to stop the fifth string, but kind of like saying that. But the defense, I think in terms of that, they did a great job. But something that you were saying, the secondary, you want to know how many completed passes they allowed all game.
I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say, because like the way they looked, it was pretty good. I'm gonna say 7.
Lower. It was 5. It was 5 passes the whole game. The passing game for the Ravens sucked. And that's not to say that the receivers are bad or the quarterback. They had Cooper Rush. I mean, he's solid, right? He's a solid backup. And they had a third-string quarterback. Don't have his name pulled up right now. But when I was looking at that, only 5 completed passes. I mean, the secondary, that's the you could say that's the Lou Anarumo effect. On the secondary being so good, the depth looks really good too, because the whole game, I mean, they were consistent, right? That is what this defense has been needing. What the Colts defense has always been needing is that consistency, right? Because I think last year, right, we would see a lot of times where the Colts defense would perform one week, and then the next week they would face the Jaguars and allow all these like big plays to like, I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, so it would just look really bad, because early on last season, the running defense, it was a mess all around. But I feel like this year with the defense specifically, we're going to see a lot more consistency when it comes to the secondary, when it comes to everything else. I think it's going to look really good. So, and then shout out to Alex Johnson on the interception early in the game. That was really cool. To see that.
Oh, yeah. That was a great game.
Yeah. I mean, at first, I think there was a flag, but then, the coaches were yelling at him. They're that was not PI or anything. That was clean. Yeah, so that was overall really good, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, knowing how many completions they allowed, to me, I see that as just such a win. It's just cleaning up the run defense, which I'm pretty sure they will go heading into the film room and everything. But, with the Colts, like, I feel they have more room to grow, of course, but I still feel them as being better in the division than, say, the Titans and especially the Jaguars. Because I like the way the Jaguars looked, like it was like they just look average. So that's why for me, I still I'll always still rank it, especially coming into this year. It'd be Houston, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. Like that's the way I rank it. Just even though y'all still see our struggles here and there, I still see y'all as better than them because of how y'all are with who's there, what y'all got, weapons, defense, especially with the way the secondary looked. Like if that secondary can stay the way it is all season, like that's gonna be with like y'all being like, oh, we're sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean the Texans in that regards have an amazing defense, already proven amazing defense. So that does mean that the Colts and Texans, whenever we do face each other, it's probably gonna be a boring game. It's gonna be very defensive. If it was defensive last year, it's going to be even more defensive this year. I think it's going to be a lot of like defensive plays, most definitely.
Yeah. And when it's defensive, it's one of those games where we're like with our foot tapping on the floor. We're just like, dude, make something happen already. We're like, who's going to end this game?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, we're going to see. We're definitely going to see if AR can stay healthy, man, which praying that he can. I think the Colts definitely could get off to a good start. But, Tyler Warren, I'm going to mention some quick stats here.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
and then also you as well with the Texans. I want you to do a recap of that one. Tyler Warren was 3 for 40. Yeah. Standout players for me, Adonai Mitchell.
He looks good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Tyler Warren looks amazing, man. I hope he shines in the Packers game as well. I think he's going to be a good safety blanket for Richardson or Jones, whoever starts. So standout for me was Adonai Mitchell, 3 for 54. I think Adonai Mitchell looks really good. He's one of those players that is I'm going to feel bad for whoever's covering him because I think he's going to be really good. Hunter Wohler is 9 tackles, 6 solo. So that was pretty good for him. Another standout on the defensive side. He did have 1 missed tackle from what I was seeing in the game. It might have had more. Let me know if I'm wrong, but 9 total, 6 solo. I think that's really good for him, and he's a rookie. I think as a 7th rounder, man, I could see him getting up on the depth chart, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely in terms of the recap, that was me recapping that. So how about the Texans going up against Minnesota? What were your thoughts out of that game?
So of course, with the Texas game, of course, like everybody is all getting bummed out. And they feel like just because we lost, I mean, it's just that's how some people emotionally are football wise. Like they think, oh, it's because it's a preseason loss. That's how we're gonna look.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna talk about offense first. Offensively, I was happy the way we looked because I wanted to see how the Nick Caley offense was. And I'm not gonna lie, the first drive we had, the way we looked, dude, I'm not even with Davis and Mills at quarterback, I loved it. Like we were doing and we had our third string running back, Dare Ogunbowale. We didn't have Damian, we didn't have Nick Chubb playing or Joe Mixon. We had Dare, who usually plays special teams. Bro, he was getting in there, rushing. He looked good on the schemes that we had for rushing. Our offensive line looked good. And I was like, what? Who is this offensive line? I was like, all right, we look good. We look good. And there was just a lot of schemes, a lot of plays that I loved. There was like some shines of it was shines of Gary Kubiak in a way to me, because there was a lot and Gary Kubiak, our previous head coach from 2011, there was a lot of bootleg plays that as Texan fans we always loved to see the bootleg play, and that's the way we did it. We had a couple bootleg plays like this one from Davis Mills to a bootleg to shout out to Braxton Berrios. He's the guy we signed this offseason. He had 3 catches, 33 yards and a touchdown.
Damn.
But there was a bootleg play where he just cut around the center. They bootlegged it from the right side, moved to the left side, threw them, touchdown. I was like,
Wow.
hey, that play is a play I've never seen. I never saw last year, and that was a beautiful play. And just the way the offensive line protected somebody like Davis. Davis usually has bad pocket awareness, but the way that offensive line made him look, it looked as if it was a regular season, as if we were going through the motion of what we're going to look like in the offense coming up in this season. But with the offense, I know I called him out all these weeks, but John Mechie, he had 5 catches, 45 yards. So I was happy for him because I want to see him improve. Our other wide receiver, rookie Jalen Noel, he had 2 catches, 16 yards. And even those 2 catches, it was 2 targets regardless. So when he caught the ball, he fought for his yardage. The blocking from our wide receivers, that looked great. So the way we're playing is we're blocking first as soon as you have that ball in your hands. No matter if you catch it, if you hike it, we're blocking for you. And that's what I love to see, because our offensive line looked great. We have Ariante Ursary. We always said that he was going to be at right tackle. We had him at left tackle for the Vikings game. That boy looks like he's a veteran ready. Like the way he protected, the way he's at tackle. I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad we got rid of Tunzel, because Ariante Ursary, he's that guy of the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. And is there any specific things you feel like you noticed with Nick Caley now as the offensive coordinator compared to last year?
No, compared to Bobby Slowick, Nick Caley has this like eager confidence, and it's that confidence that you don't see as cocky. You see it as, I need that in my locker room. Like they've been releasing on YouTube a lot of mic'd ups. They've been especially with CJ, and I didn't get to watch it. They released it yesterday of Nick Caley at training camp, and just his aura, his eagerness, his happiness of, like, it looks as if he's always wanted to do this, as if he's just been sitting back behind the scenes, which he has with Sean McVay with the Rams. He was the tight end coach. He was sending Sean McVay some plays, but Sean McVay, of course, came up with plays of himself. He only used his own plays. But Nick Caley, the way he's been, the way he's like had the offense, like from last year, this year, our offense has a different eagerness to themselves of what they're wanting to accomplish. Like all our wide receivers, CJ, our running backs, they've all been saying like, oh, we want to be the first. Like what I love from Christian Kirk, our wide receiver from the Jaguars, we got. He said, I want to be the first to put a ring on that bull. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, this offense, they're eager to win this year. So Nick Caley, the way he's been coaching these guys, the way he's made them eager to play for him, yeah, this is an offense that we know is different from last
No,
year.
most definitely. That's really good to hear. And Bobby Sloak last year, just all around wasn't
Yeah.
looking too good. Now you got Nick Haley, and I think it's safe to
Mhm.
say that he's kind of using the fundamentals that he learned from Sean McVay, right? Learning from other
Yeah.
coaches like Sean McVay and kind of implementing that. Because the
Mhm.
Rams last year, I mean, let's face it, they were a really good playoff team, really close to beating the
Yeah.
Eagles,
Yeah.
right? The team that ended up beating Washington.
Yeah.
And who knows, if Rams and Washington were in the NFC Championship, there's a chance we could have seen the Rams even in the Super Bowl potentially. But of
Yeah.
course, it didn't happen that way. But it's still, they made it to the divisional round. I mean, they
Mhm.
were still they are a playoff team. They
Yeah.
are a contender still. And, Nick Haley was a
Mhm.
part of that. So, now coming here to
Yeah.
Houston and joining D'Amico Ryans, I think this is definitely going to be really good to watch the offense kind of form here.
Yeah.
And especially right here at 2 p.m., the Texans, they're going to be able to
Mhm.
showcase that more against Carolina.
With CJ, this is gonna be the CJ and Nick
Yeah.
Haley game right now, and I'm hoping they keep CJ in for a whole quarter, but we'll see as that goes because of course we don't want him to get hurt. But if I can see CJ and Nick Haley's offense for a whole quarter, oh man, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be just sitting back watching happy.
Yeah, man, me too. I can't wait to see the starting offense. Daniel Jones is going to start it off against Green Bay, so definitely excited for that.
Okay.
But now we kind of recapped our games, seen what's the news around. Now let's preview our
Hmm.
games. Aaron, I want you to start here. What are your sort of your expectations for the Texans heading in against Carolina?
So compared to last week to this week, I want to see our because really didn't use none of our starters last week on defense. Players like Derek Stingley, he didn't play. Kalen Bullock didn't play. Kamari Lassiter didn't play. Christian Harris didn't play. Well, no, Christian Harris not hurt. Yeah, I'm talking about Henry To'oTo'o, Aziz, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. All like there's like that's like 8 guys I listed, and they all didn't suit up last week. But I haven't checked to see who's playing today on defense, but I'm pretty sure a few of them will get the reps in. But I want to see more from our backups because from our second/third stringers last week, they just looked kind of bad. Like they didn't look as good. And I'm not going to blame them. The Vikings did start JJ McCarthy. They did start Jordan Addison. So they were tearing up our secondary,
Yeah,
which I'm not going to be mad
that's
about that. It's our
yeah,
secondary defense, you know. So it's kind of like the Vikings were abusing us. And it's like, dude, can you show us some mercy at least? Like this is our like second
yeah,
stringers.
man.
They're not ready for Jordan
Yeah,
Addison.
Jordan Addison. Oh my gosh, man! I got him on my fantasy, I believe. So that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That connection with JJ McCarthy, because I'm not gonna lie, JJ McCarthy did look good. He did look good, but Jordan Addison is suspended for 3 games, I believe.
Oh
First 3
shoot!
games, for some
I mean,
for substance abuse. I
yeah,
believe I got to check because Justin Jefferson, he was talking about it because he was mic'd up. He was talking about that, like, oh, he'll come back after those 3 games, and we'll be who we usually are. So I'm like, oh, well, at least Jordan Addison gets some preseason games to shake that rust off. But compared to last week and today, heading into today, I want to see our defensive tackles doing better because our second string defensive tackles, they were getting pushed around when the run game
yeah,
came in. But with our starters, the run game is never an
yeah,
option. But somebody like Bryce Young playing today, I don't really know how the offensive line is for the Panthers, but it's probably average at best. I don't know how much they've improved it, especially to protect Bryce Young, but we'll see. I know they have some good ass weapons, that's for sure. So I want to hopefully see a few of our starters start to just go up against them. But that's definitely the motive of the day, and which is just seeing my defense the way they can be. And with our offense, it's just seeing the offensive line protect the way they protected last week because the Panthers defensive line, they are good. They do have a good one. Seeing our weapons with CJ and just seeing the CJ Nick Haley offense scheme, and we'll finally get the chance to see today Nick Chubb in a Texans uniform. So I'm like, I need it.
yeah. No, man, I definitely agree with you on those expectations. Like the Texans. I mean, like you said, you want to see CJ Stroud with this offensive system. I think that is the number one thing
Mhm.
Texans fans want to see, and definitely, kind of see that secondary. I believe the starting defense is going to play, or Are you guys holding back?
I believe so. I believe they should. I think they'll do because of how CJ's playing. I believe they'll make them play as well. Like if not a whole quarter, they'll play a few drives, and that's all I need to see. That's all.
I
I'd be
think
happy
Colts
enough.
are also going to play the starters, like all of them. I think Zaire. I do believe Zaire, like all the starters, will play, unless there's like injuries and other needs like that. But we'll definitely check back up on that. But I think it's going to be excellent to kind of see what the starting defense looks like with Lou, right? We saw the backups, we saw the third stringers. Secondary looked good. Interior depth, iffy, right? If D-Buck and Grove are there in the first quarter, I guarantee we can stop the run pretty easily. But I do want to see it all come together. I think that's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, all of this is just leading up to week 1. And I think that's going to be pretty amazing to see what can happen. But yeah, some of my expectations for my game is Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones quarterback battle. That's obviously the first thing to look out for, even though Shane Steichen did say in his presser that joint practices could already determine the starter. Now, he hasn't stated anything regarding who's the starters, so we still don't know. But based off the joint practices, Anthony Richardson did look better. So maybe AR has the job, but again, we have to see. I think it's after this game, we'll finally get an answer of who's going to be the starter. So I'm excited about that, and want to see more from the interior depth. I think definitely Colts fans, Colts media definitely wants to see more from this interior depth, right? We know we have Neville Gallimore. That was an excellent pickup, right? He's a rotational piece out of Dallas. Just came out of LA, and he's entering his 5th year in the league. He had 19 total tackles for the Rams. 7 of them were solo. So he's like, solid rotational piece, right? So he's not too bad. We have some other players as well in that depth in the interior. So I just want to see more from the run defense, more on that first level. And then the secondary, just keep doing your thing, man. I think the secondary looks amazing. Just want to see more from it. And then last but not least, the offensive line, like you were saying, right, in the pass protection, they looked iffy, right? Try to fix that up, clean that up. I think the offensive line coach and Serrano will start to fix that, or Tony Soprano will start to fix that. So hopefully that gets fixed. And then for the last thing, for the coaches, I feel like the expectation is knowing when to pull starters out. I feel like this is for any coach in the NFL. All the head coaches or any of the staff is like pulling quarterbacks out when you need to, pulling the starters out at the right time. If you're saying you're only going to play them a quarter, try to do that or even less, right? You don't want to risk your starters getting hurt in the preseason.
And it's like it's preseason. Why? Unfortunately, we saw the amount of injuries last week. It felt like there was a lot of injuries last week, especially that was it the Detroit game where they had to stop the game because of the injury. I believe his name was Norris Cole. I'd have to look again, but it was where he made that tackle and they had to stop the game, get the ambulance, and it was where everybody was so emotionally shaken that they postponed the game. But just injuries, they'll occur. But the way so many injuries occurred last week, it's one of those where it's like we need to play it safer, especially with your starters. Just make sure everybody's head is in the right place instead of, let me not think about my body. Let me just go make the tackle, go make the play. When it's like, don't risk your body, don't risk your career for that one risking play.
Exactly. It's not worth it. And I mean, we'll have to see. Again, those are some of the expectations going into this game, and even talking into it, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to finally hopefully see Anthony Richardson play more than just one drive, right? I hope to see him at least get, a good 10 to 15 passes total. So then we get a really good look at the completion percentage, right? How many is he completing? And the stat sheet looks a lot cleaner for both Daniel Jones and AR. So the fact that Shane Steichen hasn't decided the starter up until this game, meaning that it really means that this game is the decider, right? Like this is going to be the game. This whole first half is going to be the decider between Daniel Jones and AR. Who's going to get the job? Packers, I don't know if Jordan Love is going to play. He might be, I think. I don't know if he
is. Is it at home or in Green Bay?
Well, no. It's actually in Indy.
Okay.
This might be
Oh,
the
okay, okay,
dress
okay.
rehearsal for the Colts because they are playing starters. Let me see. I don't believe
Mm,
he is playing versus the Colts, though. No, I don't think they're going to play him. So I think it'll probably be some Packers
mm.
starters, maybe.
Yeah,
But considering we had joint practices, I doubt the Packers are going to play their own starters against
yeah,
us. I think it'll probably be their backups or anything. But the Colts will
yeah.
probably have
And I still see I still see Packers defense as like a test marker for
yeah,
Daniel Jones for Steichen to see more of him. So that's why it's good that Daniel Jones is the one starting because we know who AR is already. We've seen him, even though like it's been up and down through the season, it's still like he's starter. He's
yeah.
a starter. But with Daniel Jones, it's one of those where it's like you don't know whether to pull the trigger on him being starter or still seeing what he can do, especially in preseason with the guys he's been working with all offseason in the training camp.
No, yeah, man. And just in accordance to that, right? When you think about that, we shall see what Daniel Jones does as the quarterback, what
Mm-hmm.
decisions he makes, really looking in to see who wins that quarterback battle. Both quarterbacks, again, one has to just shine out, right? One has to know when it's time to go, lock in, as the new generation says it. Just got to lock in, right? And I think that's what Anthony Richardson and
Yeah.
Daniel Jones kind of have to go for. But yeah, in terms of that,
Mm.
previewing both games, both are exciting, right? Both are going to be really good to watch. So definitely excited for this.
I'm not like, oh, hold on. One
Oh
player I got to
yeah,
shout out that I was talking to you about these past few weeks. Past few weeks, we know him and we both know him. EJ Speed.
no, we're not talking about
I'm not
EJ.
gonna lie, he looked good, bro. He looked good last week, and I'm not gonna lie. Today, I'm excited to see him. I'm not gonna lie. Heading into the season, he might just
No,
be the starter because he
stop
looked
saying that,
good.
Aaron. Aaron, please tell me.
That's one. That's one player that I did not think about until now, and I was like, wait, I got to talk about
Aaron,
him.
please tell me you're lying. Like you got to be. This is a joke, right? No.
Bro, next thing you know, you're gonna see me with an EJ
Oh
Speed
my
jersey.
gosh. I'm telling you, it's always the Colts players that leave the Colts want revenge for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
know what is it, but I mean, it started with Danico, and I feel like just every player that leaves just comes to
Yeah.
Indy, faces them, and has the best game of their life. Like, I'm just like, whoa. Like, I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen this year, but EJ Speed, I mean, I think he wants that starting job, man. And I mean, if he does get it, he
Yeah,
gets it.
yeah. Especially when he knows. Yeah, especially when somebody like Christian Harris. We don't know when he's coming back, so him seeing that injury spot available, he's gonna take it because we don't have them. We don't have like the best linebackers, in the NFL, like as depth wise. We have Henry
Yeah.
Toto, we have Aziz, but we're still missing that third spot, which will be EJ Speed, and with his awareness, with his speed and his tackling, yeah, he's gonna
Gonna
take
be
it.
really good, man, really good. And now
Mhm.
heading into it, kind of after previewing both games, it's gonna be interesting, right? This is gonna be very intriguing to see, how the offenses look, how the defenses look in these games. I'll probably be keeping my eyes peeled on the Texans and Panthers game as well. But any like
Mhm.
finishing thoughts from you, Aaron, on your side?
Nah, pretty much it. Just I'm just so excited to see this offense. I'm hopefully I just like I said I want to see CJ play enough and I want to see Nick
Yeah.
Chubb play enough because those are the even though Joe Mixon will be back week 1, hopefully those are the two main players, especially Nick Chubb that I want to see rocking that uniform today, playing how they're supposed to
No,
play.
definitely. I'm excited for it. And now it's about 12:53 Eastern, 12:52. So
Mm,
the game's gonna start in about, 7, 8 minutes. But considering how preseason is, they're probably gonna start it like 10 minutes late.
mm,
They always start it
yeah,
hella late.
like yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, anyways, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. This was the Just Arrival podcast, the episode, the preview. You got the recap, the preview, really excellent. That was my boy Aaron. This is me, DJ. Be cool. Follow us in our socials below if you want to see more of our content. But just as always, have a great weekend and always stay on Just Arrival.